do you feel it's the new generation of people? Is that what they expect from the leaders?
Well, the interesting thing is, as I said, they think they are the leaders already. So you start a company straight out of college. It's brilliant. I mean, it's brilliant positivity, but they start with that belief that they're in charge, and they are in charge. They're making the decisions, but making the decisions perhaps not from a position of strength. So without being too patronising, I've got 4 children, and I try very hard. It's difficult as a father not to patronise them and say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that because that won't work." You find a way to get them to realise that might be another way of doing things. So mentoring's very complex to get it right. And I hope that, again, any of those that I am mentoring currently or have mentored in the last 4 or 5 years would come back to you and say, yeah, actually, he does live and breathe what he says, what he's telling you here.
But you're right. I've met recently a couple of startups, young guys, and you talk to them, and I feel like they're already the leaders. At least they talk to me like they
already know, yeah.
And they already know. Then why are you here?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, and that's another key thing, Nina, is staying open to learning. So I'm 60 years old and I haven't stopped. I was telling you a story off camera about living to 115, which I'm absolutely certain I'm going to do. Well, that's 45 years, so that's 55 years away. 55 years more of life. I've got 55 years more learning to take part in. So, and I say take part in, I'm not going to be the one necessarily finding it. Things are going to come my way. People I'm going to meet are going to tell me things I hadn't thought before. So that, again, is crucial. You teach and you learn at the same time.
In today's world, what kind of business leaders we need? Or what would define a successful business leader?
Empathetic, vulnerable, because you never know what other people are going through, and there's people on your team, they're going to look up to you. So they need, a great leader needs to show their humanity, because we are just humans. It doesn't matter what level you get to in life in terms of success or money. That's irrelevant. It's being kind, and living in that way where you respect deeply other people. And just because they might be younger or they might have less success than you doesn't mean they're any less a person. So being a leader and being out there and being, that beacon of light. I don't think people need ego, and I don't think people need fear-driven businesses. In the 80s, right? It was all about fear and, you'll do as I say. And it's like, no, pack it up. Young people these days want to go and work for great companies, great people that are not just, it's not just focused on money. They're caring about the products that they make and the environment and caring about people. They're the companies that are going to succeed in the future, in my opinion.
The reason I'm asking is because we had a very, not heated, but engaging discussion today morning about what does make a true business leader. And one of the words that were brought up was to conquer, the ability to conquer. I said, but maybe it's about how much impact you bring. And the argument was, but in order to impact anyone, you need to have an ability to conquer. Do you think it's just the whole idea of conquering and
I don't
force?
like the word. Conquer means to take something.
Control of,
I think the tighter you hold on to something, the more difficult it is to keep hold of it.
Yeah.
Future is we need sustainable leaders. Mm-hmm. And what are sustainable leaders? That are leaders that they are capable to drive the sustainability goals. So we have the 17 goals by 2030, but we are far off to reach these goals. Why are we far off? Because we don't have sustainable leaders. And to become a sustainable leader, like recently, they actually rolled out the Inner Development Goals, which is a framework of 5 dimensions. And these dimensions have 23 skills that you should actually learn as a leader. And grow in these ones. If you can have these 23 skills, you are that sustainable leader, and that's the leader of the future. And a big part of that sustainable leader is being empathic, being emotional intelligence. We have heard of this term already, right? You have the IQ and you have the EQ. We need to create that awareness. What is sustainability? Because it's a far off their bed show, and there is no. Well, they cannot feel the tangible financial impact. And if a leader doesn't feel the financial gains or benefits, then it's difficult for them to do something around it, right? It's just there and they follow it. But if they start realizing how much of benefits you can get out there, and sustainability is not only like, we think about garbage, we think about pollution, we think about waste. The plastic in the oceans. But you know how much waste there is on the work floor? Like if you can think about it, like yesterday, maybe you were on a work floor with a team. How much of waste in energy is there? How much of waste in fighting like the decisions, fighting the change instead of accepting the change? Waste in time.
Waste in time.
We waste on a daily basis huge amount of times.
So time can be actually an attribute or a part of sustainability also?
Yes.
Wow.
A sustainable leader is a leader that can manage their time, but that also understands why it is a waste.
And other people's time, I guess, also is.
Yes. Yeah. And that comes down to communication. How are they communicating? Are they like communication? You know, in the word communication, I always use that in my trainings. You have you, the N, and the I. So you and I. But a lot of people say communication, which is I and you. How many leaders speak last?
So let's say you had a very difficult life, and then you go to this, struggle. Through struggle, you go to being a leader of big corporation. You have very low, emotional intelligence and empathy. How possible it is? Do I have to really understand that I need it to change it, right?
Yes.
And
the first step is always awareness.
Awareness. I need to realize that I need it.
Yeah.
But do they really realize?
It's difficult, but they need to get challenged by others. So if they have a peer or a co-CEO or a partner, they need to make them aware. So actually you as a leader in a company, and it's not easy, but you need to dare to speak up, and you need to maybe give a book. Like it's often my solution to somebody that is really not aware. Give an interesting business book, but that talks about empathic leadership,
Mr. Ahmed,
being aware.
This is your book for your birthday. Happy birthday to you.
What you can do is, if you have a team of 5,
everyone gives the book.
All of them get the same book. But the book
and
has
then
that
guess
message.
Who has the
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Going forward, we can see that big corporation getting rid of people. The whole idea of I start with a company, I'm gonna stay until the last day of my life with the same company is gone.
It's not anymore.
People want flexibility. They want to travel. The new generation don't even want to work, I think, anymore. Okay, I'm being a little bit, but it's true. Yes, how are you gonna keep them? How are you gonna them interested? It's not so much money. The world, we're not making as much money as we used to make, right? So you need to, with little money, keep the best people.
Yeah.
What is diversity, equity, and inclusion? There's a lot of, some people think it's women, some people think it's, certain groups of people. But what it is really for you, would you explain, describe DEI?
I would say it in very simple words,
Yes.
because I've seen that, sometimes you talk to people about DEI or DNI or any kind of abbreviation we can actually use, and it's not well known. So for me, diversity, and in the country we live is diverse by design, it's that you have people from different backgrounds, origin, gender, knowledge, language, wherever, religion, everything. So you have different elements, okay? That's your ingredients. Inclusion is you bring all these people to be part of this ecosystem with the role that they can actually do very well. Okay? It's like when you make a cake and you have all the ingredients, you put them in the right way to make the final cake, to create the recipe.
You put them in a certain proportion.
Exactly. Okay?
Yes.
Without saying, this butter is not good, I'm not going to use. No. Use the butter in the best way that can actually add the flavor on your cake. Okay? And equity is about the kind of quality and value you create for the overall ecosystem in a way that makes sense for the ecosystem, the business, because this is very key to me, but also for the people who are part of that. So bringing the best talent is priority number 1, okay? Yeah. And I say that because when you talk about business, you need to know that the way that a company, an organization is operating, the outcome is to bring value at the bottom line. If the bottom line is positive, is green, good job, man. If the bottom line is red, you have an issue. To make these things work, it means that you bring the best talent, but at the same time, a talent that can be part of a team, that when you exchange ideas, experiences, or when you want to do things in a different way, because we must not forget, the world is changing dramatically. You need to be able that these people, these talents, can work well together. Okay? If you don't have that, the talent only doesn't work. And you need to be open to bring new people and new ideas and voices on the table. If you try to get people that they only look alike you, the leader, and that has to do with the gender, where they come from, where they studied, even the age, okay? There's an aging issue at the moment. It's not good because you cannot get the different perspective that people may have and they can bring into you, into your company, even if they come from a different industry, because they can bring a different kind of knowledge. So, and this happens a lot in the family companies, which they try to grow very fast, and they cannot see how they can bring actually people from around the world to be part of their business.
It's interesting because as an entrepreneur, logically, I would think that hiring the same people as I am is actually, it's strange, because if they're the same, then what's the value? But logically, you want to bring diversity, creative ideas, brainstorming, looking from different perspectives.
If the leader doesn't believe in D&I, if the leader is not an ambassador and a role, is an example of doing that in their everyday life, then we have an issue.
And I'm thinking that it's very similar. I have a lot of, from the brand perspective, because a lot has to do with brand, employer brands and culture. It's the same thing. Everything is built from inside.
Yeah.
Everything starts with the leader.
The moment you have a team that can work well together and it's really diverse and inclusive, the impact on your business, on your return on investment, on your, on the way that you are perceived as a brand by your consumers is 2 to 3 times higher than a company that doesn't do that. And by the way, there are surveys about this, so it's not something I just say.
So it's all measured.
It's measured.
So your job as a CEO is to coach people on how to reason and think about how they deliver the value proposition.
Yeah.
Not to give them the answers, to coach them, to ask them questions until they get it themselves and they can make decisions. And you've got to encourage them to make decisions, and you've got to encourage them to allow them to fail. Okay. Once they know that it's okay to fail, and you give them the boundaries in that, then they get to go and try. And once they start seeing that they can actually make it happen, they now have a seat at the table, which means that they can now deliver that value proposition without your supervision. Now you've brought in about scale in your business. You're bringing in about sustainability because you've empowered them to do that, deliver that part of the value proposition to your customer.
You have to have certain qualities as a leader also. Ability to trust. Yeah? Ability to see the best in that person.
100%. But you see, it goes through how do you coach that person and making sure that your objectives of the business and their objectives for their career is aligned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think what a lot of people, and especially in today's age, the job market is very different to it was 15 or 20 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
20 years ago, people were trying to get a job for life. Yeah. Okay. Today, they're not. Today, they want to see your job as a stepping stone in their career. So when you start with someone and they come into your business, your main job is to be able to say to them, listen, I understand that in 2 or 3 years' time you might leave. And that's all good. Okay. So, but I'm hiring you to be able to build out this capability in my business to deliver that value proposition to my customer. So I know that you're not there yet. So this is a learning curve for both you and I. And you're saying to them, I know that you're going to leave me in 2 or 3 years' time because my business is not big enough for you to be able to grow past that point. So let's chart out what is it that you want to become, what skills you want to develop over the next 2 years, and what capability I need you to be able to impart into my business. What are they doing is they're actually helping you scale a business. They're helping putting a system in place, because one of the biggest, besides leadership and people in a business, to scale a business, you need the right systems that people can just repeat and repeat and repeat, right?
Right.
In a sustainedly good quality and a good manner of delivering
Right.
that value proposition. But if you don't have the right systems and infrastructure, they can't do it, right? The best people in the world want a seat at the table. They want to feel
Yeah.
like they're really contributing something, that they actually made a difference themselves. Okay, that they contributed, they make something different, because that's what they're living for. They don't. A lot of people also don't just want the money, right? They also want to know that they've developed and that they were part of the success. They don't want to just be the person that actually took the notes in the meeting to try and make it successful. They actually want to have made a meaningful contribution to that business, right?
And it doesn't matter of the level, right? Anyone,
No.
right?
I promise you, when you coach people and you care about their career and you teach them as much as possible, give them as many courses as possible they need to be able to develop their capacity
Yeah.
inside, they will build the systems for you. No doubt about it.
Beautiful.
Okay, and when they've built the systems for you, when they leave, and 6 months prior you hire the next person, that next person will stand on those people's shoulders and go further, right?
Beautiful.